Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone and depending from where you're watching us from. This is Biafra Watchman TV. We are live and we are direct. If today is the first time of coming across our video and you like the way we are propagating the gospel of Biafra, please subscribe, like, and share. Below the comment section, you will see our backup page channel. You will see the name Biafra 101 TV. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm equally dropping a bombshell in that channel. The reason for creating this channel is to have a backup page in case of eventuality, so that we will start from there. We wouldn't want them to take us unaware. We move. Ibrahim Traor, you see this guy, we have a lot to emulate from this guy. We have a lot to emulate from this guy as we are fighting for the restoration of Biafra. Now we've seen a guy who have stand out. We've seen a leader who have stand out to show what visionary leader stands for, because this Biafra we are fighting for, we want people who will pilot the affairs of Biafra to be a visionary leader. Leaders who can see into future. Leaders who know actually the problem of the people. Leaders who actually know how to, to put things in order. Leaders who actually know what it takes to be a leader. This guy have stand out and he's living a pure exemplary life. You will see, you will watch this video and listen to what he told the teachers. Because teachers, they are the most underrated people or profession in Nigeria or in Africa as a whole. I know some teachers that taught me back in the days, both in primary and secondary school. Because that's, university. I know the reason why I don't want to include it, because the foundation of training a child or a youth is in primary and secondary school. I could remember some teachers that taught me then the way they were, treating me. And to me then, I felt they hate me, they despise me. But when I become of age, when I become an adult, I actually know that indeed they truly love me. They want me to be somebody in life. So teachers are most underrated, and this thing have even made teachers of this generation, they don't have that passion for teaching again. They are just, doing the teaching work in the sense that that's the only job opportunity they find, or only job they can lay their hands on. But back in the days, if you see anybody who is into teaching profession, you will know that this is what she or he decided. He has passion over it. But these days we are not seeing it. In this video, Ibrahim Traor is encouraging the Burkinabés teachers to develop that passion again, because the future of Burkina Faso is in their hands. That what they taught the students, what they taught their students is what will reflect in the society or in the larger space of Burkina Faso. So the guy knows the importance of teachers, and he's charging them to discharge their duty diligently with passion and patriotism. I understand one thing about that young guy. Each time he makes video, he centers his word, or each time he makes speech, he centers his word on patriotism. Patriotism, love for Burkina Faso, love for the country. love for the motherland. And this is number one characteristics of a good leader. You must, one, and you yourself must have patriotism for the country. Then you will make sure that you indoctrinate, you teach your people to have the patriotism for their country. This is the message this guy tries to pass to Burkinabés. There's also a video he assembled people who are into filming industry. He equally told them to know the kind of films they produce because it goes a long way to shaping their society. Because what they put out there in the film somehow replicates in the lives of people, like what we are seeing when we are growing up. You see ritual movie, ritual this. The real core value, the real value system of our people, they are not, they are not acting or showcasing it in the film industry. In fact, this Ibrahim Traor, the guy is starting from, he is starting to build Burkina Faso from scratch. Burkina Faso and Africa will not understand what this guy is doing now. Just if this guy should stay in power for just 10 years, man, Burkina Faso will be a tourist nation in Africa. Burkina Faso will be seen as a tourist attraction center or a tourist nation in Africa. Burkina Faso will be a nation that people will go and emulate and learn something from. So what I'm saying, as we are fighting for the liberation of Biafra, we've seen this guy have stand out. I urge people who are leading us in this Biafra restoration to be learning one or two things from the guy. There's no day you watches this guy's speech that you will not learn one or two things. If you are sincere to yourself, you must learn one or two from him. Very selfless leader. Very, very selfless leader. He understood the plight of his people, and he understood how to do what? To make the lives of his people better. So I implore our people leading us in this Biafra restoration, we need to be learning things from this young man, especially his selflessness in service. Selflessness. Always ready to listen to his people. Always ready to give his people the best. According to him, say he came to life for Burkinabés. He lives his life for Burkinabés. Everything about him is all about Burkinabés. That he has passed through the hardship. He has seen the pain of being a Burkinabe. And he took it upon himself that since they have the resources to turn Burkina Faso around, he vowed that he must make sure that he rewrite the history of Burkina Faso, and he's doing so. This worth emulating. This attitude worth emulating. So to some people that, there was one guy that said we are no longer concentrating in our own fight for restoration. Now we are talking about Burkina Faso. No, you are getting it all wrong. You are getting it all wrong. If you don't have anything to learn from that guy or from Burkina Faso, learn the patriotism, love that one has for his or her country. We have to start now to do what? Have patriotism for Biafra. Because if we have this Biafra we are talking about, if we are patriots, if we have this patriotism for Biafra, most of the things people are doing now we are fighting for Biafra, they wouldn't have done it. The reason why we are seeing all these things we are seeing, this rubbish we are seeing, now we are fighting for Biafra is because there is no patriotism. What drives most of us who are on this media is not the patriotism for our nation, Biafra, rather is the monetary gain money will people get from social media platforms. That is why somebody will clearly be promoting what he or she knows that this thing is bad. You know that this person is doing what is against the ethics of Biafra freedom. You are clearly supporting that person, using your platform and channels to support the person just because you want to get traffic to make money. There is no patriotism. If you have patriotism for Biafra, if you really have Biafra at heart, there are some certain things you cannot even entertain. You know that this thing is detriment to Biafra. For this thing to be detriment to Biafra, you wouldn't give that thing listening ear. So we have to learn from these guys. And if you watch Burkinabés now, their mindset, their orientation have started changing because the man leading them have stand out. The man leading them have shown them that he loves this Burkina Faso. We will build this Burkina Faso. We will not go anywhere. We will not borrow money from anybody. We have all it takes. We have the resources to build this nation. This is the mentality that we fighting for Biafra need to have now. Let's have this patriotism for our nation, Biafra. Yes. This is what we lack. Yes, we lack it. We have to change now. And I urge all of us, if you know genuinely you want Biafra, take it as a point of duty to be following that guy. Watch Ibrahim Traor, be watching that young man. In watching this guy, you will develop this patriotism for Biafra because the guy have made Burkinabés to have patriotism for Biafra for Burkina Faso. As I'm talking to you today, average Burkinabés can do anything to protect the image of Burkina Faso because the one leading them have shown them the example, showed them the need for one to love his or her country. So I urge all of us to be following that guy. If you are following, since all the teachings MNK taught us is no longer in our brain, thank God this guy have surfaced. Most of us now, we don't take time to listen to MNK broadcast. Because had it been we are listening to the teachings of MNK, most of the things we are doing, we wouldn't have done it. But since black people, they said out of sight is out of mind. Since MNK is not there to be teaching us, and most of us have forgotten all the things he taught us. Ibrahim Traor is there. We're watching that young man to build their patriotism for Biafra. Just watch and listen to what he said, the message he passed to teachers. The reason why they have to stand up now. Because if they fail to teach the Burkinabés, the Burkina Faso's children, their students, the Western world will hijack them from them. The man don't want the Western world to hijack their future generation from them, being their children. So he wants their teacher to rise to the occasion and start teaching them in the language they will understand about Burkina Faso and how to make Burkina Faso a better place. just watch. I greet you all. Peace and love. Please like, subscribe, and share, and follow our new channel, Biafra 101 TV.
Dear teachers, you who are represented here, today, the world of education, those who impart knowledge, who must educate in the values specific to Burkinabe, who must educate in patriotic values, be greeted once again, embrace your profession wholeheartedly, for the future of our nation depends on you. If you educate these young children well, we will have a better Burkina tomorrow. And if you fail, our homeland will have failed. Remember, the imperialists are conducting what they call today the fourth generation war. The main objective of this war is to ensure that for generations and generations, our nations can never build themselves. They want to ensure that these children grow up in a climate of terror, of violence, unable to distinguish right from wrong. And only you, by playing these roles, can lead them to distinguish right from wrong to become good citizens. Because for them, if children grow up in such a climate, we have several generations that will never be able to make peace, who will kill each other, because for them, the rule would be war. Look at some nations in Africa that have never known peace for decades. That's exactly what they have done there. And ensure that Burkina Faso does not end up in this situation. The future of our nation rests in your hands. And I urge you to take this mission head on and transform our successes.
I was even talking to the minister about the laboratories. I told him to find a certain number of minimum equipment, and we are going to build laboratories worthy of the name in our universities. Because people will come to pursue a scientific field, graduate, and yet even a microscope, they haven't been able to look at a plant cell under a microscope. That's not possible. Yes, we all took the science track. To have access to the small laboratories you enter, there are 7 or 8 microscopes. Maybe not all of them work, not everyone can have access. That's the reality, it's always like that. So, he is working on it. We want to create model laboratories in many of our universities. You cannot come and not be able to access a certain minimum of scientific laboratory equipment to conduct your tests and familiarize yourself. It's in this that we can create. If we haven't developed this laboratory aspect, we are creating theorists.
We must not be lazy. It is necessary to mobilize the population. It's not about you and your work. It's important that all your people understand that you are choosing to sacrifice yourself for them. So, when you tell them to go out to work, they must go out. The other day there was an attack. I followed all the instructions and attempted to investigate the situation. Individuals were taken aback. Negative. When you have a collective weapon, the first thing is, you should not be surprised. You must see the enemy and prepare to face it. Each time, it was attacked repeatedly. I instructed the pilots to film and show me. Did they construct the posts? Did they dig? The answer is no. There was not a lot. There was nothing. Therefore, they will compel you, and you will compel them. From this point on, that is the way it is.
In the overall framework of our process, we have expressed our strong desire for Burkina Faso to be able to overcome this challenging situation of underdevelopment.
If you want to break with these imperialist forces, it's simple. We denounce the agreements. Everything starts from there. I think the example of Chad in any case is tangible. They started by denouncing the agreements. Otherwise, if we don't denounce the agreements, just saying that the bases leave, we haven't done anything. Because the problem lies in the colonial agreements, the defenses that have been signed since independence. The most dangerous is not the one you see in the bases. The most dangerous are the military advisors. Military advisors exist in all these countries. They existed in Burkina as well until the end of 2022, until we took responsibility. And who are these military advisors? They are the ones who are supposed to implement France's policy. Here, they must work to make our armies very weak, so that France can always have the argument to exist here. Under their influence, they had succeeded. Our sentinels were therefore standing guard with sticks. That's what France wants from our armies. When we reach this stage, we have no choice but to want them to come and settle. But the Burkinabe army managed to get rid of the military advisors. Unfortunately, I think that in 2019, after Operation Otapono, where the French saw that the Burkinabe army still had the capacity to respond to terrorists, they called the chiefs of staff in France. They instructed him to reintegrate the military advisors throughout the structure. Well, they did not agree. But upon returning to the country, the politicians instructed him to accept the military advisors. And that's when the military advisors returned to the Burkinabe army in 2019. With all the consequences we know, the army was on the verge of disappearing in the years 2020-2021. And indeed, this is the time when many soldiers had to desert because there was no longer any hope. We were in the process of collapsing. That's a bit how they work at the General Staff headquarters. In all army headquarters, in the schools, they are the ones who are supposed to dictate the policy of our army. They are the ones who tell us when to recruit, how to recruit, and what to do with them. They are in the schools to tell us how to train them, and so on. As long as these military advisors are there, you are not independent. Your army will just have the appearance of an army that is there to perform parades, a circus. But when war comes, you will realize that a parade is one thing, but war is another thing. You have to break the agreements. It's the only way to have an independent army and build strength. But many people do not understand this, perhaps. And even with these agreements, France selects from our states officer cadets to go and train them. It's through these same agreements. But in reality, these officers who go to train, for the most part for France, they come to serve the French state in their country. They do not come to serve our countries. They train them so that they come to serve the interests of the French state. I can provide evidence of this. When we revolted, many officers in Burkina who were trained in France were immediately contacted to tell them that it was time to take action because you were trained for this, to serve France's interests. Most of these officers reported back to us. We took note and we continued to monitor. When an officer trained in France returns to his country and unfortunately dies, either by accident or on the battlefield, in France there is a night of tribute to the fallen in the army, as there is everywhere else. During the night of tribute to the fallen, the name of the officer in question is mentioned.
Mr. President, there has been a long discussion about how long you will stay and when you will organize elections. How long will the transition last? Is it today? Do you have an answer to this? Or do you think it is not a priority? For you, how long will Captain Ibrahim Traor be in charge before organizing elections to step down?
I was going to ask you a question in return before answering you.
I'm not here to answer questions.
Sir, it's a debate. It's nice. If today, in 6 months, we decided to abandon the people, you, as a very objective man, aware of our situation, what would you say? What would your comment be?
Honestly, I prefer to stick to that, even though you know my true thoughts.
All right. Since we've been here, we haven't taken a single day off. The whole exec.
But when you say that, politicians say, this is our job, since there are those who do it. They do their job. We want to return to democracy. We want to go back to parliament with people who are elected. We want to let the people speak. Are we staying like this or setting up a new model? They learned here. We don't want them learning elsewhere and applying it here.
To put them on the right track. They learned their profession. This profession is... We don't want people to learn this profession elsewhere and come apply it here. We want to create a model. Because the way things are done here is in fact not the right way.
For you, sir, President, there's no question of talking about organization, about elections and transition.
Yes, we're going to organize the local elections right now.
So we need to reset everything.
No. Aside from the system that's in place, which needs to be reviewed, the elections, they concern all of Burkina Faso. Do you think they are ready today to go to Soleil, to Falangonto, to campaign like... But they are Burkinabés. They must definitely vote.
First, we need to get the wire through.
There needs to be a minimum level of security so that if there's a campaign, people can go everywhere in Burkina, explain their ideas to the Burkinabe people, and the people will choose, because it's no longer about distributing goods. There will be reforms on the electoral code. It's over, that's it. If you get caught up in this, you will be disqualified. Well, I'm not going to get ahead of Iran in the water, but I can tell you that there are reforms coming. This way of doing things, of buying people's consciences, is over. Our mission is to awaken people's consciousness so that they never accept this again. If you think you can govern the country, you need to explain your political program. What are you going to do? And maybe after a while, The people will evaluate whether you should continue your term or not.